all you can and you're running with kings. But how far could you go if you run with the wind? And the chances you take are what give you wings, and you can fly.
Hi there, I'm Lewena Bayer. Welcome to Consider Civility. Today we're talking about civility training tips, specifically 3 things to bring to class. So I can't tell you over the last, 20 years I've been a corporate trainer. And by the way, these tips would apply to you if you're teaching adults or young adults, children, doesn't matter. But sometimes in spite of our best efforts and all the planning and preparation we do, we find we get to a training site and there is nothing there to support training. For example, training tools. Oftentimes trainers will pack a bag that has everything from, staples to sticky notes to, all kinds of things in there that we might use for training. But happens sometimes you forget the training bag at home, or you forget it in the car and you don't have time to run down to the parkade or wherever you are, or you took something out of the bag and forgot to put it back in. All kinds of things happen. But what I know for sure is if you know the content generally, and if you have a sort of toolkit in your head of activities and exercises that transfer well to different groups, you can usually get by, but it certainly is easier if you have a few props. And so these are 3 things that I would say every trainer should not be without. And I sometimes will leave a set in my car, a set in my laptop bag. I keep an extra set at the office in case I don't have time to run home and get my bag, or if I'm taking Uber instead of the car, all kinds of reasons. But I think it's good to have multiple sets of these 3 items on hand. And by the way, if you're looking for specific things to do with these tools and that kind of toolkit that I was talking about, we do have a toolkit on civilityexpertsonline.com. It's a masterclass toolkit. Or you can visit civilitycenter.org, where there are about 1,000 items in a toolkit there, and some of those might be useful to you in terms of activities and exercises and so on. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so in terms of these 3 things that you want to bring to class, paper, always paper. I am a big fan of, it's called craft roll. I get them from IKEA, but you can get them at craft stores. Recycled brown or white. Sometimes you can find other colors as well. Rolls of paper. I like things on a roll because you can just put elastic and it stays intact, wherever you have to be storing it. But you can roll the paper in one big long chart on a wall. You can cut it into smaller size flip chart paper. You can use it on the floor. Sometimes we do drawing or other activities on the floor and you need these big pieces of paper. You can use the paper, cut it into name tags. You can cut it into cue cards, which are incredibly useful in training class. Sometimes people haven't got a notepad or you forgot the handouts. There's all kinds of ways that you can use the paper. In addition, in different thinking skills classes, we'll use airplane, folding, or origami games, all kinds of things. Anyway, you should have paper. If you don't want to roll, you could use normal printing paper. Just grab a handful on your way out the door, line notepads, etc. And at the dollar store, you can actually buy much smaller than a craft roll gift wrap in brown or white. Sometimes it's folded up in the square like a normal gift wrap paper would be, but often you can find it for wrapping parcels in small, lightweight tubes. I use that sometimes when I need to take supplies and I'm traveling to a training site on a plane or something. It travels very well, but you will find that if you have paper, you can do all kinds of things. And then along with the paper, you're going to want to have some painter's tape. I prefer the blue kind. I forget the brand name, but it's a little bit wider, about 1.5 inches, and I find it peels off the roll much easier, and it does not take the paint. It sticks very well. It doesn't peel wallpaper. I like that tape because you can actually use it for marking off work areas or spaces on a floor, different activities we do in the flooring training class. You can use it for posting up your flip charts. You can rip off pieces of it and make name tags. There's all kinds of things you can do, but it's lightweight, doesn't take up much space, and it's a really good practical thing to have around. Third thing is markers, and I would always say bring the water-based or erasable markers, because if you don't have flip chart paper, you can often use glass windows, for example. And if people get the marker on their hand or their clothes, then it's not a big problem. But I try to have one marker per person, or at least 10 markers. Whenever I'm training, I like to do carousel activities, and it's good to have a marker at each chart. By the way, something else you might consider doing, I believe they're 3M. There are these little, tiny little hooks that they have a little sticky on the back, and you can use them to stick on the flip chart so that you can put the markers. Sometimes you can put tape and a string or whatever you want, or put 2 clips and then you can rest the marker kind of laying horizontal over the flip chart. I find it looks very professional. It keeps the markers where you need them to be. People jot down on the chart, they put the marker back, all that, it's good. So those 3 things I find, even if you're caught off guard, you have to deliver training that somebody didn't show up, or you just find yourself in an uncomfortable situation in terms of the training room, you can do a lot with those 3 training supplies. So I'm interested to hear if there are things that you would add to that list. If you could only have 3 things, would you take out something I suggest and add in something else? You can certainly jot down in the comments. Please click the like and subscribe to our channel. And in addition, if you have a moment to browse through the description, there's a link there for BethCrookham.com. She's the singer-songwriter for the Isabel song, which is our channel theme song. It plays at the beginning and the end of her clips. And Isabel is a woman who started an organization called Solid Africa. You can learn more about it by clicking the link. But she represents to me the epitome of civility in terms of her compassion and resilience and generosity and grace. And she's just an incredible woman. And if you're inclined, take a moment to click through the links and see what Solid Africa is all about. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Consider civility. Bye for now.
The reason why each of us comes to this earth, and your actions will always speak louder than words, and you'll never know what you're capable of until you try.